We had a very successful launch of a new film, Harry Potter, and we're all feeling very good at the studio, so it's a good day to come visit.
Well, dear relatives of Warner Brothers, first of all, thank you for agreeing to meet myself and the Latvian delegation. We are here on a trip to several cities, starting with Washington, D.C., going to San Francisco and Silicon Valley, coming to LA and Orange County, and this evening we're heading to Austin and then to New York. And we have some 40 people business delegation with us in order to facilitate economic cooperation between Latvia and US. So we try to seize those opportunities in various fields of industry. Of course, Latvia is nowhere near as huge as regards film industry as Hollywood is, but nevertheless we have some studios, we have some companies coming over shooting movies, including from Hollywood, including from other countries. Just this summer, first large-scale Korean movie was shot in Latvia, and so certainly we would like to explore those cooperation opportunities which there are, and Mr. Ozos, head of our investment and development agency, will also give a more detailed presentation from our side as regards cooperation in film industry.
I can go ahead. We have among our delegation also two representatives from our Latvian film industry, but if all the world knows who you are, due to many reasons, then perhaps you do not know what our film industry is and does it exist at all, and perhaps that's why it makes sense to give a very few slides to show you to have first very short insight about our country, and then of course about our film industry. And the country is located in Europe. We have a historical capital city, major city in the region, very close to Scandinavia, with a deep cultural life, culture scene, also business infrastructure as well, of course, which is very important perhaps to mention. Architecture is modern and also historical. So the city is very, very interesting, and also actually our beauties and attractions for film industry concentrates in our capital city. Nevertheless, we have the main reasons why foreign, and this will be seen in the trailer. We will show you a very short trailer as well. Why Latvia is interesting, because everything can be done, perhaps also in LA, in Hollywood, using computers, but we have certain beauties for certain particular needs. And this is first of all architecture, and many films which, for instance, show historical scene in Europe, in Germany, in Poland, or in other countries. It is much easier to do modeling and to use our architectural buildings and even some smaller city than capital city in our country. And this is used by Japanese, by Korean film industry, and it becomes more used to larger scale. I have want to be brief. So we are very easily accessible for all the coordination works for specialists, and Riga Airport is well connected to 86 destinations. And general preconditions are there. European Union country, member of all the international organizations of the WTO, and also there are financial incentives as well. So I would like not to show that our economy is becoming now is generating opportunities, in particular for film industry, but this is a city where sidewalk pulses. We are vibrant, cosmopolitan, and also with a very good nature, and nature for different needs. Again, foreign companies work very closely with us, but what I'm asked to, and I'm not myself specialist in particular in film industry, the gentlemen with us now both are, but they asked me to inform you that there are important also tax incentives, 15% cash return on the films made in our country are refunded. I do not know all in and outs why is it so, but it is according to European legislation that if you make film and costs fall in Latvia, then this is having financial benefit in particular for film industry. And available human resources, here we speak about both, about technical teams, English speaking, well managed in international arena, and also of course, actors as well. And here we are supposed to show you one video material. I'm going to give a comment on it.
So basically, what you see is a recent made German movie, Blue Heaven, shot in the center called Riga. This site represents 20-year-old history of Latvia, when regular people came to build barricades against Soviet special forces during the fall of the Soviet Union. The next one is Clouds Above the Swamp. It's a Japanese project shot this year, about 20 miles outside Riga, in a special zone for military purposes. The film dealt with Russian-Japanese war of the beginning of 20th century. And you see again, our crews provide a full range of service here. So the costumes and special effects were made from our side. There were also little help from our Lithuanian colleagues and Estonian colleagues to make all this happen. And this, as Prime Minister mentioned, is one of the biggest projects in the industry in our part of region. This movie is Japanese, Korean and Chinese filmmakers done that together, and as they ourselves say, they want to match up with Steven Spielberg with that. So this will come out in a year and a half. So.
So the idea is why not why should not we work together in the cases where you might seek good combination between infrastructure to be delivered and opportunities what our climate and geography and history and architecture is offering, and with presence of our specialists. Just for showing, I will skip a few slides, but very important was to mention those financial incentives and also to give you references where there are good references of known in the industry people like producer Jeff Most on making the courageous part of Irena Sendler, and I just quote, in Latvia we had the most professional and hard-working teams in my experience. I'd like to return to film here. So those examples are numerous. Also, of course, some known actors have been also evaluating services rendered by our professionals very high. And perhaps a little bit sentiment, historical background is also that known person in film industry, Sergei Eisenstein, is born in Riga. We have also world-known photographers like Philip Kaufman were photographing celebrities in a jump, like jumping celebrities was his all the series of photographies and pictures. So the country is generating creative minds, is offering an infrastructure, and having an opportunity to be here, it would be then strange if you would not advertise, of course, our possibilities and capabilities. So we invite you, if there is a chance that our country can be an interest for you, then we have the village called Cinevilla, Cine Village, where is infrastructure for film industry. It is not from former Soviet Union, it is new creation there. But we have the combination costs, traditions, deep knowledge and understanding, and all the reasons I mentioned, geography, architecture, and very different culture. So we have, of course, also a lot of information in the webpage, but I've been told we have very short time for giving this opportunity to us to speak. That's why maybe I was a little bit too brief. Then I managed to be very short. Thank you.
What is the population of Riga?
All country has 2 million population, and Riga is more than 700,000 with suburbs. We say that like 50 miles around, then we have 1 million.
Well, I'd like to introduce myself to those I haven't. My name is Steve Papazian. I've been doing production for over 30 years. The last 17 years as the president of worldwide physical production for Warner Brothers Pictures. My division is the division that's responsible for the manufacturing of the film. Location selections along with the creative talent involved with the film, producers, directors, and we film all over the world. We've filmed in probably 45 countries since I've been doing this, and we first go to, as you pointed out quite nicely, is filming locations, the opportunity to find the proper creative environment for the film. And secondly is finance, is what is the best value for the film. And as you can imagine, Warner Brothers is being one of the top film production companies in the world, manufactures a varying array of films, from comedies to dramas to rather large action-adventure series such as Harry Potter and Green Lantern and the Hobbit films and the Lord of the Rings and the bigger films. We are presently filming 5 films in the United Kingdom. We recently acquired the property and the studio for which we filmed 8 Harry Potter films over the last 11 years. It's 200 acres outside of London with a film production facility that we're retrofitting right now and hope to open our first European operation and film studio in June of 2012. We'll have 9 sound stages and a rather large back lot, fully serviced, fully equipped. It'll be our center of European production, along with Warner Brothers Studios here in Burbank, which when we finish, you can walk outside, look over the fence, and you'll see it right back there. which is 110 acres and 36 sound stages. We, from a theatrical standpoint, filmed far less in Los Angeles than elsewhere in the world. Television and episodic television from Warner Brothers is primarily housed here in Burbank. Theatrical productions, we do chase film incentives and economic opportunities wherever possible. As you may be aware, Great Britain and France have about a 20% production incentive program, and as does Hungary, and recently legislated in the Czech Republic is a very competitive incentive program, very similar to the one in Hungary. We have 2 films in Australia. Baz Luhrmann is filming a picture called The Great Gatsby. It's a remake of a picture that was done several years ago from a wonderful Scott Fitzgerald novel. We're in preparation on another Mad Max movie with George Miller that will be filmed partially in Australia and South Africa and Namibia. We are doing 2 Hobbit films with Peter Jackson in New Zealand, and last year's Yogi Bear, a live-action animated picture, was also filmed in New Zealand. So we film all over the world. I filmed very briefly a piece of a film in Lithuania, which I believe is a neighboring country, and we've not filmed in Latvia. However, when I get the opportunity, and I'm sure I will meet some people here and we'll exchange information, I would be more than happy to look at the economics of Latvia as it relates to a European destination for filming. I'm going to need a little more knowledge on the 15% tax incentive program. What are the qualifying factors? And obviously we all know the return of that is very important as well. Every film incentive program is different than the next one. There are no 2 that are absolutely identical in the world. And each one requires a deep understanding and knowledge in order to be able to take advantage of it to the best of our ability. We were talking a little bit earlier, and we were talking about what it takes to really build out a film infrastructure, and as you can guess, Hungary has done it quite well. They've had some investment from the outside. I know that there's an American film studio that just completed construction, Hollywood Film Studio, independent studio called Raleigh Entertainment, just built out a facility in Budapest. And so now there are 3 production facilities in Budapest available. The Czech Republic in Prague has a marvelous facility and studio for which we have used in a number of instances. And then again, in Great Britain is a very large production capital. And we also do co-productions. We just are doing Clash of the Titans 2 as a UK Spanish co-production. We filmed all of our interior work in the UK and most of our exterior work in Spain, primarily in Tenerife and the Canary Islands. And so it is so important from an economic standpoint that we understand all of the economic opportunities available to us. And we're very interested in what Latvia can provide. I know I have a few books in my office, and I do have a book that was given to me some years ago on Latvia. So in my library, I do have pictures of Riga and some of the countryside of Latvia. I haven't looked at it lately, but we just scouted for a Ben Affleck film, Bulgaria. We scouted Turkey, Istanbul, for the same film. We went to Bucharest, we went to Sofia, we went to Istanbul, we went to Amman, Jordan, and we went to Casablanca in Morocco. It's a film that looks at the U.S.-Iranian hostage crisis of 1979. It opens with that crisis, and the film is about essentially extracting 6 Americans who fled the embassy and took refuge in the Canadian ambassador's residence during that ordeal of the hostage situation. We were looking for a place to replicate Tehran in 1979. Through our search and through the economics, we selected Istanbul as a location. Not a lengthy location, 12 days of filming out of 46 days of filming, but it's very important to get the environment right and the pieces together. As you can guess, in some countries you submit the script to the government. The government takes a look at the script. The government was fine with the production that we were doing, and so we're going to be technical scouting here at the end of, in the middle of this month, at the end of this month, and then we'll be filming in November. So we look all over. We do parts of films everywhere. I don't know how familiar you are with a film called Inception, but Inception was filmed it was basically a British production, Warner Brothers UK. We filmed in the United Kingdom. We filmed in Japan. We filmed in Paris. We filmed in Alberta, Canada. And we filmed in Los Angeles. A great portion of this. In each of the locations that we filmed in, Canada, United Kingdom, France, each of those 3 countries provided very unique and very valuable production incentives. Japan was a small part of shooting, and Los Angeles provided 0 production incentives. So we do look all over the world when we make these films, and again, it's a combination of financial and creative. And we're still doing about 25 pictures a year and have well over $1 billion worth of production every year.
Well, if I may, a couple of comments here. Certainly we will send you more detailed information on this tax incentive and VAT, how exactly it functions, because this incentive scheme is here, and we see that we are starting that some moving to come over to Latvia and trying to make some movies like this. My way is first very large budget film shooting here. Of course, it's also something new, so we have some misunderstandings, and it was called this story of this movie. It's some scenes were shot in the center of Riga. So all of a sudden, on some buildings, some red posters appeared like Slava or Stalin, like long live Stalin or something like this. And some members of parliament started to complain. What is this? What is happening here? And they were like, oh no, this is just a movie being shot. Yeah, nothing political. But I think we can manage side effects like this. And also, if you look at the tax incentives, and it seems it's also worth taking into account general level of expenditures. And in fact, last year Riga was named as the most cost-effective location out of all large European cities. So in Riga last year you could get the best value for money when staying there for general purposes. I may imagine that there's also many other expenses not directly linked with a film which matter while actually preparing the film. And another issue which may be relevant is that I don't know how movies are being made now, but I may imagine that it doesn't involve anymore carrying like rolls of films back and forth. It rather involves sending files back and forth. And for that purpose, we have as a very good internet connections, and we are ranking from downloading and uploading speeds. We are ranking according to the different indicators between 3rd and 6th place in the world. So, which means that we also have a decent infrastructure for moving large parts, large bits of information back and forth, which may be also helpful for the film industry. Just a few remarks. I think Mr. Rosas wants to add something.
Just no, it was a perfect summary. But I also would like to add that this is not even a tax, not only tax incentive, it's more than that. Those 15%, it is real money. So not like you have tax discount on that amount, but this you physically have as a cash refund. Also perhaps it is quite clear that you search for the countries and you find and you have a system. And actually, business of Latvia very much appreciates this form where highest ranking persons of the country, like our Prime Minister, is supporting business with allowing us as a door opener, if I may say. So we are here now. And for us it is very important later on to find out what can we do more apart of that you will certainly search for countries and maybe find other countries, but maybe we have this benefit of being so close to you and we can inform you more precisely. I mean, not becoming hyper active or aggressive or pushy, because then you don't talk to us. But you know, for instance, the Japanese or Koreans, they find somehow us and they come to us and say we want to shoot there, and we wonder, we are pleasantly surprised, but we do not feel that we have done our homework sometimes. And now, being here with you, perhaps we need to know, to know. I mean, do not mean right now and here. I mean, if you allow us to contact you,
absolutely,
a proper contact person, then we will provide you more structured and better prepared information, as having only a very short time to explain what we can. Because maybe we look a bit pathetic that we can everything, but there are real advantages.
We can do it here, and we can do it in the UK. We have a production. I have a production staff in the UK that handles quite a bit of Europe. Very familiar. They're a lot closer to Latvia than we are here in Burbank. And at some point, I believe that they can come to Latvia, meet the individuals in Latvia, take a look at the some of the facilities and the film facilities that you have, filmmakers in Latvia, and become better acquainted. That's always the best way, is to be there, not here. And perhaps in the near future we can do that. Hopefully not in the winter time. Maybe at least not for me, but for them. But no, we'd like to know a lot more. You're not yet a Euro country. You are Euro. You're
not Euro.
Not Euro.
We're supposed to be.
Yeah.
EU, but not Euro.
Right, but you're not on the Euro.
Currently, the plan is to join as of January 1st, 2014. But anyway, our currency is pegged to Lats, and we
Euro.
It's pegged to the Euro,
It's
yeah.
pegged to the Euro, and we maintained this peg during this very harsh financial crisis. And so, if you have to join Euro, it helps to maintain this peg. So basically, you can say that there is no exchange rate. So you can exchange at a fixed rate, and that's not the problem. Plus, many companies and so would gladly accept Euro payments.
As you can guess right now, in the present economic environment, the U.S. currency has taken a pretty severe monetary exchange hit against some of the European currencies, the euro, and as well as Australia, New Zealand, Canadian. We used to, and we for many years enjoyed a reverse situation where the U.S. currency had a great degree of strength over those currencies. So it's taken a bit, it's also taken into consideration as part of our budgeting system. What we generally do, because we are a U.S. corporation and based here, is that what we do is that we don't gamble on currency. When we lock a budget, when we decide where we're going to be, we buy a forward contract on the currency and we lock in at that price. So it's been a bit more difficult, and with that difficulty, some of the states in the U.S. Have stepped up and are taking some advantage of that situation. So incentive programs in the state of Louisiana, North Carolina, Florida, New Mexico, New York City, they've increased their incentive program to try and draw some of the film production that had been going to Europe back into the U.S. and back into those states. So it's a game of economics. We do it quite well, and we'll take advantage of it whenever we have an opportunity to take advantage of it, and we would be more than happy to take a very hard look at Latvia and what Latvia has to offer.
Thank you. That was what we wanted to hear. And certainly that if it comes to, like you said, Iran, and then maybe some typical for Muslim countries, buildings can be better replicated in Istanbul. But if we speak about shooting films, and not necessarily, as sometimes we smile at saying only war, that some of our cities look like just after the war. It is not anymore like that, of course, but the architecture is there and present, and you cannot do everything, or maybe you can, but should you, with computer animation, and sometimes,
Well, obviously we do a lot of computer animation, millions and millions and millions of dollars of computer animation. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because computer animation is spread out all over the world. Part of the Harry Potter computer effects that were created for this Harry Potter were done in Australia. They were done in Australia because we have a relationship with a number of visual effects companies in Australia. We did a picture called an animated picture called The Guardians of Gaul in Australia. We also did Happy Feet. We're now doing Happy Feet 2 in Australia, and we know the digital effects. We also use Bouffe in France. We use visual effects in Germany. Australia and Canada uniquely have a standalone incentive program, so the same incentive program that you have for filmmaking, 15% or thereabouts, which is a refundable incentive program, not a tax credit, but a refundable incentive program. They'll incentivize digital effects. They have a bottom line on it. If you do $2 million worth of visual effects in Australia, you get a 15% rebate from the federal government. They have the same in New Mexico. In this country, they're incentivizing digital effects now in Massachusetts and Connecticut. And so a lot of companies in a lot of states are realizing that the digital industry, if you will, the graphic effects, visual effects, etc., is a real commodity and can be done anywhere. And we can do them in multiple locations. It's not one company that does the effects for a film any longer. It's multiple companies. It's basically a commodity. a worldwide commodity, and we go after digital effects all over the world. So that's one thing that can be spread around without actually having to deal with locations and buildings and what have you. We just do the visual effects. But we still film. Well, it was just in London. We're doing Chris Nolan's third Batman film called Dark Knight Rises. And we were outside of London, and we were filming in 65mm IMAX. So 65mm IMAX, a 3-minute load of film is in a case about this big, that big, and that big, because 65mm film is about that wide. And you get three-minute loads that probably weigh about 60 pounds. So we're still filming in film. We do capture digitally. We still do 35mm film. And as you can guess too, 3D has become reasonably popular. And the 3D element in the filmmaking process is yet another cumbersome piece of equipment to provide the 3D imagery and a lot of electronic equipment backing it up. So we make films in all budget ranges, hundreds of millions and a few million. All depends on our slate of films and the filmmakers.
Sir, maybe just to reinforce what has been said already about Latvia, in a nutshell, Riga in Latvia is Istanbul of the north. If you are going to Istanbul from the south, and Riga is Istanbul of the north. And this is a meeting point between east and west, north and south. And there's a kind of whole range of opportunities from medieval settings to most modern places with seasides and with nature. And it can be east and it can be west, and it can be, one of the films mentioned is about Warsaw Kettle, and it was done in Riga because we have kept most authentic settings which could be associated with those events. And certainly it's a place to be seen. It's part of the UNESCO cultural heritage. And Art Nouveau buildings and wooden architecture, whatever. Nice slice of European heritage.
I used Istanbul as an example purposely. And the reason I used Istanbul as an example because it was one small portion of the film. The balance of the film will be filmed in Los Angeles and a little bit in Washington, D.C. But why I brought up Istanbul is that, as you can understand, it is a film that is essentially somewhat controversial, given the fact that it was a hostage situation after the Shah of Iran left and the fundamentalist Islam took over. And so we were somewhat concerned about filming in an Islamic country. And what would they think of us filming that type of a film in an Islamic country? And in the 3 countries that we had some filming experience, none of the 3, that included Turkey, Jordan, or Morocco, had any issues with us filming that. They were more than willing and wanted and were very competitive to get us to film in that country. So I understand I brought it up because of the reference to the Stalin type film being done in Latvia, and how that sometimes those sensitivities can upset a few people. But we generally do a lot of our homework and make sure that when we're filming in a country that we are very sensitive to all of the political issues. I'm going to have to run, unfortunately. We're a little bit late, and I apologize. Who will be in contact with
the embassy certainly will be ready to stay in touch. And Mr. Ozos?
We are a government institution, but we are working very, I would say, efficiently, business-minded government organization, where we are very much interested not in our own commercial profit, because we belong to the government, we have no profit.
Is there a consulate here in Los Angeles?
We have honorary consul since yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
I'd like to, are you going to be here?
Yes, sir.
Maybe you don't.
Thank you.
Can I, maybe we can further this?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. We can further this discussion.
Yes, you can work with our honorary consul, but in any case, we'll ask our different government agency to prepare more detailed information because we're making incentives.
And not only about incentives, we will make together with our move industries, the different players with most significant companies, we will together prepare a package for it.
And make sure that both embassy and honorary consul is
Aware of it.
carbon copy, and so that they're aware of this conversation.
And we'll set up another lengthier discussion and try and get to Latvia before the year is out, if possible.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah. Okay, great. I think I just gave the last one.
Oh, sure.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Okay.
We'll try to get there. If it's not me, maybe my colleague in mine, we'll send them out and they can go through, do a little tour and go through the program and maybe meet some of the film industry while they're around. Okay.
Well,
Let's see if we can do
if
that.
you decide to come, certainly do let us know. We will arrange a program for you. And before you go, we also wanted to present you with more books about Latvia and DVDs on the back of the wall, so that you can update your pictures about
Great.
Latvia.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure meeting you.
I'd like to present you with this Latvia